And, so exception handling, we need to see null pointer exception when you will get. So what is the reason for null pointer exception? Null pointer exception demo. Take the main method, click on finish. So first I'm going to declare a string s equal to null. You can declare any object or string values as a null initially. Later you can know static. If you want private, I'm just giving private static string s equal to null. Okay. And we will write a method here. So I'm going to call on that null variable. I want to find out length of fetch the length of a string. So int count equal to or int length. Okay. So length equal to s dot length method. So you call the length method. So length of the string. What is the length of the string means? So how many characters are there in the given string? It will give you this length method. And now write other statements, whatever the statements you want. String is a class in java.lang package. So I want to show you other statements are going to execute or not if there is an exception. That we need to understand here. An immutable class. So what is immutable class? So the value cannot be changed. That's immutability. And so yeah, let's execute this. Okay, you can see whether you're able to execute or not. What happened? You got an exception. Exception in thread main, null pointer exception. Yet this package class main method line number 8. So go and see that. So that means why you're getting a null pointer exception on this line?
There is no null, sir.
What is
But
there
we
is
are
no
accessing the
value?
There is no like variable values now.
So which variable value it doesn't have?
string.
Yes.
S variable value.
Yes. Variable.
Yes,
So yes, it doesn't have a value.
Value.
Yes, it doesn't have a value. That's why
It's throwing.
so you are
throwing an exception.
so
Null pointer
throwing a null pointer exception. So this yes variable having a null, on that null variable you are calling the length method. That is the reason it is throwing a null pointer exception. So if I want to continue, even the exception occurs, select and surround with a
Try catch.
try catch. So you can put null pointer exception
Null pointer
class
exception.
name. You want to change NPE, I want to change it. That's it. So if you want to add a finally block, you can add a finally block. So yesterday, so you I think Lavanya was asking, right?
Finally block won't on that code. Fast.
Then finally block won't execute. If I told you these are the things, you know, system.exit to thread.sleep, the thread, any thread that is dead, and it won't execute. Still, see, the
Yeah.
code is not executed because it is exiting completely. So 9, the rest of the code is not executed because it is exiting here automatically. Or let's put after this, what will happen? You see this. System.exit, if you write, automatically exits entire program. Okay, now the finally block is executed, catch block is executed, and here the line executed and it got exception, it came to catch block, and then these two, but the rest of the code is not executed. But this should be on the top. Later, then finally block code doesn't execute. So this is the one scenario where you can, so where if it encountered any of the things, then finally block code doesn't. Otherwise, finally block code always executes. If you want to see, just run in the debug mode. How to run in debug mode?
Yes.
Place a toggle point.
Debug has.
Run as a debug. Switch to debug perspective. And see, it came here and stopped here. See, now 9th line is where? In the try block. Now press this arrow icon, step over, it will move to catch block. Catch block, it moved. See, it didn't execute a 10th line. Why?
Because
An exception occurred.
Recursion exception.
The exception occurred at 9th line. That is the reason it didn't execute. And it went to 11th line.
Catch block.
So catch block is entering now. So catch block executed. Try block executed. The try block, there is a problem. That's why catch block exists. So try block also, this line is skipped. So which line you are getting an exception, after that no more code will execute in the try block. It will jump to catch block will execute. Now it will go to finally block. See, exited, the program execute, completely exited. So system.exit means completely program will exit. Otherwise, see, run it again. Now what will happen is, see this. See, rest of the code is executing. That's the complete process. So now let's see, I'm going to give a yes value here. So initially you declared null in the 4th line, but later before using, I am using in the 9th line, right? I'm before using, I'll give yes value. So what I'm doing in the 6th line, can anyone tell me?
Assigning
value. Giving the
Excellent.
variable.
Assigning the
you to the
value
the
for
string.
S variable. So these are the basics all. See, now there is no exception. Run in the debug mode, you will understand. See that? It came here because I put a toggle breakpoint here. That's why, otherwise it will go here. But I didn't put a toggle breakpoint on this line. I put a toggle breakpoint here. So this means this internally executed. So that's why S value is going to set there automatically. See, now this length value automatically calculated as a 4. So this length method is returned 4. Next, So catch block will execute or no?
No.
No, sir.
No.
No, sir.
So I told you if a try block is successful, catch block won't
Catch
execute.
block won't execute.
See, now it jumped directly into try block
Finally
after it
block.
jumped directly into finally block.
Finally.
So did you observe that finally block is executing? If there is an exception in the try block, if there is no exception in the try block also.
Yes.
That means both cases it is executing. Right? Did you observe that or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Observe.
Hmm?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So even there is an exception here also, finally block executed. Now there is no exception. Still finally block is executing. That means both cases, that means finally block gets executed always. It doesn't matter whether the exception occurred or not. It doesn't matter. So any case, finally block code will execute. See that this is the code how you can execute. Okay. Yeah. So that's it about null pointer exception. Let's move on to the next one. Number format exception. So if you do a wrong formatting of any value, so suppose now we are converting this. Okay. Now we are converting this.
Integer.
Convert the string object
Into
into
integer.
into primitive format.
Primitive format.
So what is the formula?
String.
Int I int variable equal to integer dot parse
Int.
int
Yes.
yes string object.
C.
So this is the formula. Please remember this. Okay. So int is a primitive data. I equal to.
Variable.
So
Wrap
int is
class.
dot %. That is.
String object.
Right. Okay. So later, if you want to do some other calculations, you can do. This is one. Yeah, let's execute what will happen is this. What happened?
Number format exception.
So number format exception for input string.
Java.
So line number, how do you find line number? Package name,
Package name, class name,
method name,
and number.
line number.
11.
So this is giving a
Exception.
number format exception. You surround with a try catch block. So here, why we are getting error here?
We cannot convert words to a number or letters to a number.
Read, madam. Why you are so
Local variable I may not have been initialized.
What is the error? So you're getting 20th line error. What is that error? Is clearly giving.
Initialize variable I mean.
Local
Well,
variable.
Variable.
Did you initialize?
No,
No.
So we didn't initialize. We just declared here. Where we declared I variable?
about right in the class.
Int I.
11th line. So 11th line, right? So I have to assign a value for that. I have to assign a value for that. That's it. So I have assigned a value. Now, see, now there is no error here. So local variables, without assigning, you cannot use them. So you have to initialize the value with the default value or whatever is the value. Once you initialize only, you can use that. So now see that the rest of the code will execute. See now Java 0 you're getting because I value 0, right? That's why you're getting Java 0. So this code is executed. So even the exception occurs here, the rest of the code is executed. That is the main thing. But so I'll change now this to
Null.
so some number in the string format. Now see that value. So this one, and if you still want some another number, with I. So int result equal to I plus yeah. So result value is 35. So this is working fine now, right? Even there is no exception here also. So no catch block is executed now. You can see if you want, you can just put a print statements where it is going. If you want to debug, this is how you need to debug. Put it line by line, so the print statements, and you can understand so where the code is going. That's how you need to run code also. So if this statement executed means, that means it cursor is coming here. So that's how you can track it out. See, now it didn't go here. So it executed these 2 lines and then jump to here. So that's how you can execute this. Next, last one, throw and throws keywords. The arithmetic exception we have seen, null pointer exception we have seen, number format exception we have seen, array index out of bounds exception. Did I show or no? Did I show or no an arithmetic exception? Sorry, now array index out of bounds exception.
Yes, sir, shown in array concept.
Yeah. Nobody remembered, huh? I think nobody remembered. A long time back, right? So we forget completely. So let's go and maybe first I'll show throw and throws demo. Then I'll move on to the. Let me show you this. See this. So can you see here when I want to write a function. So validate whether he is eligible to vote or not based on the age. If age is less than 18, I want to write my custom message. What is that? I will write a custom message. Throw new arithmetic exception, not eligible to vote. Generally, arithmetic exception, the message is divided by 0, but I'm converting into my own message. This is the custom message. Else, so system.out.println eligible to vote and waiting for some time. And see, you got an error here. So that means this is the checked exception or unchecked exception, this one. So this is the checked exception or unchecked exception?
Arithmetic is runtime, unchecked exception.
This one, madam. I'm asking here, you're getting a compile time error here, right?
Okay, thread dot sleep.
So is this a checked exception or unchecked exception?
Unchecked. Checked exception.
No, it's a checked exception. Compile time error. Checked exception.
Exactly. Excellent. Because your compile time, you're getting this exception. That's why it's like a checked exception. So add the throws declaration or surround with a try catch block. Surround with a try catch block or add throws declaration. So I want to add throws declaration. Let's go and add the throws declaration. So where is the throws declaration is adding?
After method signature.
In the method.
Method signature, but
The
throws
method
after what
product.
is?
Class.
Class, exception class.
Exception.
Okay. So, and throw keyword is usually within the method body, and where the throw is followed by
Object.
object. So these are the differences I'm giving here itself. Program itself, I'm showing you the practically differences. So you have to get them, right? Then if any class, any method has a throws declaration, wherever you are calling this method, you must declare there also. See, if I'm just using this value, okay? See, still you are getting error. Why? We call this is also static, this is also static. You call the void static method directly. But what is the error? You are given a parameter value also here. Then why you are getting error?
So
Use that.
So if any method has a throws declaration, wherever you are calling, you have to declare that exception here also. What is that? Any method is having a throws declaration in the definition time. While calling time also, you have to declare the same exception. So mouse over throws. So any of them you can take up. See, now error is gone. So this is the, see, you got an exception. Why you got exception?
Age less than 15 less than 18.
So that is the reason. So how to debug this? How to debug this? Which line you are getting error?
package name.
Package name dot class name dot.
But you got here in the first C. Here if you see package name dot method name, you got in line number 18. But
Yes.
line number 18 is not the one, right? Then how you just move up one level up? Go to validate method. Validate method, which line?
7th line.
7th line. So this is the one you are getting exception. So this is how you need to move up step by step. That is called complete step trace. Okay, and single try multi catch blocks. Okay, anyway, so let me show you single try multi catch blocks. If you observe here, so I'm creating an array and I'm just printing the array length to array last element index. So try, catch, catch, catch. So why this many catch blocks? I have a scenarios like this. This one, see that? First element I am putting, storing in the first position, 15 by 0 value. So 15 by 0 means what is the wrong I'm doing here?
Dividing by 0.
Arithmetic exception.
So arithmetic exception. That's the first exception I'll get. That's why my first catch block is arithmetic exception. So what is the second exception? How many? What is the size of this array? 5.
5.
But how many
5.
elements I stored here?
6.
So more than the array size, if you store, what will happen?
Array bound.
Index
Array index out of boundary exception.
This is the one. This is the class name. Please spell out properly. Array index
Out
out
of
of
Bounds
bounds
exception.
exception. So that's why if you handle this, this should throw. That's why I'm handling with the other catch block. So for example, these two are not there. Some other exception comes. This root class will take care of any other exception comes. That's a root class in the last you have to write. So this is the how you can handle single try multi catch blocks. So this is an example important for us also. So please focus on that.
If you just, sorry, sir. If you just write the main exception, that is also enough, right?
Main exception means
This root exception.
throwable you are saying?
No. Is she asking exception EX? We can write this straight.
Yeah, instead of writing arithmetic.
So these are all instead of these. So if you
Yeah.
write what will happen, you're asking. So a single catch block you want to write. That's what your question?
Right, sir. Yeah.
Let's try it out. See, now there is a arithmetic exception. So arithmetic exception is thrown. You got it.
Mm.
So I'll solve this now.
Mm.
So array index of it is throwing.
Mm.
So this will take care of everything because this is the parent, right?
Yeah.
Parent exception, it will take care of everything. But at a time, one catch block only will be thrown to you. Okay. So that's the single try, even single also you can use, but multiple if you use, you can easily understand. So there is a problem, so both you can understand. So that's why single try multi catch blocks also you can use. That's all about exception handling. Any questions? Okay.
No, sir.
Yeah, move on to the next one, JDBC. So what is JDBC? Why do you need a JDBC? So JDBC means Java Database Connectivity. So it will connect to the database. And why do you want to connect to the database? To fetch the data
To store.
from the database, you need that. So that's the JDBC purpose. JDBC is an API in Java, which is used to connect and execute your SQL queries. Connect and execute your SQL queries. So that purpose you are using this JDBC connections. So in the alphabetical order, they are available here. So you can go and see that. So how to connect to the database using JDBC API. So JDBC API is used. It's a Java API to connect and execute SQL queries with the database. So JDBC API uses a JDBC drivers to connect with the database. Why you need to use a JDBC? There is a before JDBC, there was a ODBC API. So which basically connect to the database and execute all the SQL queries with the database. So, but ODBC API was developed by C programming language, okay, C language. So C language is a platform independent, right? Platform dependent, okay? Platform dependent. So it's a platform dependent and unsecured. So Java is a platform independent, right? Independent and also secured program.
Unsecured.
So that's why people are using, you can connect to any database with this JDBC API. So that means from Java code, you can connect to the database. Database is another layer. In our web application, I'm not sure I explained already in the manual testing time. So you have 3 layers: web server, application server, database server. So each layer is different. So how you will connect to now database layer? Through Java code. And this is what we are going to discuss now. So API is application programming interface. Basically, it contains a functionality, what that particular interface has to do, particular software has to do. You will write a logic and that code you will write and you will make it as a one API. So that API will go and talk to other module, other component. So, and that's the API means. So we have a different types of drivers are there. So JDBC, ODBC bridge driver, native API driver, network protocol driver, thin driver. So these are the different drivers we have. So how to connect to the database and get the data? So to connect to the database and get the data is first step. You have to load the driver between your program and database. So for that, you're going to use class dot for name method, Oracle dot JDBC dot driver dot Oracle driver. So this is the one you have to use for loading the driver. So then second one, connect to the database. Connection con equal to driver manager dot get connection method, and you have to pass 3 parameters. One is URL, username, password. That's how to connect to the database. So string URL equal to, and this URL, this is a descriptor URL. So basically I'm just giving for the Oracle database, but here you can give any database. So driver type. So this code is fixed. This driver type only will change. So driver type only will change database to database. This is the Oracle database driver type. And for MySQL server, so different database, MySQL, the driver will be different. But this code is fixed. This code is fixed. Even this code also fixed. Connection con equal to driver manager dot get connection. But what is this connection? What is this driver manager? So I'll discuss in below. So get connection method, and you're passing URL, username, password. So the string URL is a descriptor URL. So once you install the database on your machine, the database has some connection URL. The connection string we call that, or descriptor URL we call that. The descriptor URL is this one: JDBC : Oracle : thin @localhost. Localhost means the database is installed on this machine only. This database running on which port and which database name. This is the system identifier, or SID we call this. So some name you will give for the database. That names the database name you are going to give here. So that's the second step. With this step, the connection will establish between the Java code and database. Now, on the database, on this connection, you create a statement. So you create a statement. So there are 3 types of statements are there. Now I'm using here simple statement st equal to con dot create statement method. Create statement method you can use. So now fourth one, fetch the results. You can fetch the results. So result set res equal to this statement dot execute query, select a star from EMP. So that's the result set. You can use it. So this is the queries. You can write the queries. That queries will execute and that will fetch data and stores in this RES object. Then you can use a loop also to iterate the data, all the data. So then all these 4 steps. So what are all the different classes, methods, and interfaces you're using? So we are using class, and method, for name method for first step. See, this is the first step. The class you're using. Method name is for name method, and driver type is your driver type is what driver type you want to give. You give that. It's a parameterized method, right? Parameterized method. And interface for first step, no interface. Second step, no. So driver manager class you're using. That's a driver manager class. And create, get connection method. Get connection method you're using. So this is the 3 parameterized method. And interface name we are going to use connection interface you're using for the second step. Third step, create a statement step. No class, create statement method, statement interface, or prepared statement interface, or callable statement interface. There are 3 types of interfaces we have. There are 3 types of interfaces we have. And so the last 4th step, to fetch the results, execute query, and you give your SQL queries, result set interface. So how many interfaces we are using here?
Connection, statement, prepare statement, 4.
Yeah. Connection interface,
Statement.
statement 2, or prepared statement, or callable statement, result set. These are the one. For a statement, third step, any one of them you can use. All 3 I have given, right? Any one. But when to use which one, I'll give you below a description on that. So very simple SQL queries, if you want to execute, use a simple statement interface and create statement method. So, and you want to handle the SQL injection attacks. The hackers will do SQL injection attacks, right? That SQL injection attacks, if you want to handle, you need to use a prepared statement interface. So basically, which helps to prevent the SQL injection attacks, because it so escapes the special characters. So prepared statement allows you to execute dynamic SQL queries with the parameter inputs. We can pass the parameter values to this one, prepared statement. Callable statement is used to execute stored procedures. Okay, to execute any stored procedure, bigger programs, you will use callable statement. And this is the entire program. So simple program. So all these packages and classes and interfaces are available in java.sql package. Java.sql package, these are available. And see, this is the code, direct code I have given. Just go through this code, string URL equal to this. So string descriptor URL. Username, password I'm storing with a properties class. So properties class, basically why we are creating object for any class. What is the purpose of creating object for class?
We can change value, different values. We can take different values based on condition.
With all the methods or
Yeah, only Lavanya is alone catching the concept. So what about others? I don't understand. Huh? This is very bad, and at least learn from her, you other guys, okay? This is not good at all. I already clearly mentioned. I told right very clearly why you will create object for any class. The basic concept, that one. Very basic, fundamental basic concept. That also, if you forget, what you will do? Tell me in the automation. You have to know, you have to improve. Basics are not there. No use at all. You're learning the course also. Focus on the basics, fundamentals. You go anywhere. First, concentrate on the basics only. That is not there. What you will do? Okay. Any class will create object to call the non-static methods of that class. That's what I'm creating. So I'm calling, so with the object reference, I'm calling that non-static method. Set property, I want to set the username, that username value, key value pair. This is the key and value. Props, set property, username, value. So this is the, I'm setting the username with this object, password. And also string URL I defined. Now see try catch blocks. First step, load the driver, class dot for name, oracle.jdbc.driver.oracle driver. Second step, create a connection to the Oracle database. Connection con equal to driver manager dot get connection URL and this properties object. In this properties object, both username password stored already. So now I'm giving the SQL query, select this date as current day from dual table. So I'm using a prepared statement because already on the top I have given statement interface. Pre-statement equal to this on this connection. I want to prepare the statement for this SQL query. Then after setting the statement, you execute the query and fetch into a result variable all your results. Execute query. This query will execute and fetch and stores in this result variable. And I'm iterating that while result dot next way method. So then fetch the current day of the result dot get string method you're using. Result dot get string method will give you what are all the values are there under this column. So then catch block, SQL exception e dot print stack trace. Finally, con dot close, result dot close. Con dot close, result dot close method. Okay, so that's the this how to connect to the database. See, finally block. See, all try catch finally. Again, I'm using here also. That's a very, very important concept. So connection. So see, I already told you close method you will use to close the connections, database connections, and result set. I'm closing that. So the objects I created here, right? I'm closing them properly. So that unnecessary memory will be wasted. So memory won't be wasted if you close them properly. Even something goes wrong here, and this will execute always, finally block. So that's all about this one. Anyhow, we don't have that, just a code only. You can just know, please be prepared for all the 4 steps. Even if you can give 4 steps, that's more than enough. Okay. Next topic. Before going next up, any questions on that JDBC connection?
Sir, will you show JDBC connection like program or practical unit.
No. We don't have that JDBC connections. Yeah.
This is for like interview purpose, interviewer might ask.
Yeah. Okay. Now, so file handling, how to handle the files. So why do you want to handle the files? What is the main objective? So basically, you have a data in the files. You want to read it to your programs. That's a one use case. File can be any kind of file. So what are the different files? What are the different files? What are the different type of files?
exe, jpg, jpng, img,
That's image files. What about other files?
HTML, like
html, text,
HTML.
Text
.ts.
files, right? Text
.ts.
files.
Text
Excel.
files.
Here you put your data mainly in the testing.
excel,
In your Excel sheet or in your JSON files or in your text file or no, these are the places, right? You will put data.
Mhm.
That's the main important, right?
Yeah.
That's the main important. How can you read the data? If you have a data, how can you read it? Okay. So how you can read the data?
Input, output.
So that for reading the data and writing the data, two use cases we have. So first use case is reading the data to your Java program, how you can read, or to Selenium program, how you can read. The data is there, how you can read the data. So the second use case, you have data in your program. Maybe you got it from web pages. You got the data from web pages. That data you have in your Selenium program or variables. That data you want to write to files. How you will write that data to the files? Maybe that data you can reuse later in the next lines of code. Whatever the data from web page it is coming, you can use it later. But here so managers will ask, okay, you have to keep in an Excel sheet only, and from there you have to read it. So how can you do that? All that? How you will read from the Excel? Maybe so you see why you need to put in the Excel. It's easy maintenance. Maintenance is going to be easy in your test cases. That's why you'll put the data in the Excel sheet and you will read from there, and maybe you'll use that in your application, maybe typing the data or so validation purpose. So different purposes you will use the Excel data. You don't need to modify your code every time. So you read the data from Excel sheet and you use that in your automation test code. That's one scenario, how you will read. That's the first scenario. Second scenario, you have data in your variables or in your Java program or in your Selenium program. How you will write it to the file? It can be any file, Excel file or any file. So, but so Selenium, I'll show you how to read the data from Excel sheets and how you will use them. So in your programs, I'll show you that. But here we'll just simply see for reading what is the classes, for writing what are the classes you need to use. We'll just describe quickly and we'll move on. So for reading purpose, you're going to use file input stream class, buffered input stream class. Reader is an abstract class. Reader is an abstract class. So if you anybody ask, can you give some abstract class examples? You can give reader abstract class, writer abstract class, file reader, buffer reader, file class. So this is the files to Excel doc properties. These are all, and basically the data will stream in the networks in the internally packets wise. So the data will stream in byte format or character format. The data will stream in byte format or a character format. So for reading, the steps you need to follow is first create the file object. Why you need to create a file object? Again, these are all classes. These classes are available in java.io package. All the classes are available in java.io package. That means Java input output stream classes. So first step, anywhere if you want to represent the file, first you have to create object for file class. Create object for file class. Then second step, if you're reading, use the either file input stream or file reader. So file input stream means you're inputting the data from the file. That's a file input stream concept. Okay. And see, file input stream, you're inputting the data to the file, from file. File reader, you are reading the data from file. That's why file reader. So what is the difference between file input stream, file reader? File input stream will read byte data. File reader will read character, 1 by 1 character. File input stream also 1 by 1 byte will read. So in the networks, the data will go 1 by 1 byte. So even if you use file reader, 1 by 1 character will read. But when you use a buffered input stream, so all the file data will store in one temporary location, and the continuous streaming will happen, large chunk of data at a time. That's the difference between normal file input stream and buffered input stream. So this large byte data will read to the program. Even buffer reader, if you use large characters, large set of characters, a collection of characters, that means a string, entire string data will read here. So that is the file input stream, file reader, buffered input stream, buffer reader will be useful for us. But classes doesn't do anything, right? The action is done by methods only. So here are the methods. For reading data from any file, you have to use a read method, which reads the byte data. Read line method reads entire line of the data. So when you're using a buffered reader, you have to use a read line method. So when you're using a file input stream, you can use a read method. That's the first scenario. Second, but you have to create object for all these classes. So first step is create object for class, file class, and give the file path from which file you want to read. Where is that file that represented? So file class is, there is a parameterized constructor you have to use. For all this, you have to use a parameterized constructor. The second step, create object for file input stream. File input stream fs equal to new file input stream and give the file reference object. Then if you're using a buffering, create object for buffered input stream also, bs equal to new buffered input stream and pass the file input stream object. Or you don't want to use these two, you want to use these two. So first step is again create object for file class. Second step, create object for file reader class. Create object for buffer reader class. So like that you can use these classes and then call these methods on those objects. You can call this read method, read line method. So that's the how to read the data from files. Then how to write. For writing purpose, because you're outputting the data, right? That's why file output stream, buffered output stream, file writer, buffer writer. So file writer class, basically, file writer will write the data to the files. Character based data will write. Buffer writer will write a large chunk of data. So that's the buffered writer. So any questions? There's two scenarios we need to understand. Those are the two scenarios we need to use. Please let me know if you have any questions.
Sir, continuous streaming means it run continuously in Java program.
Large chunk of data it will read. Continuous means, you will see buffering. Have you seen any time buffering, madam? It will,
Yes.
What will happen? It will buffer and then the flow will, the video, when you see buffering video,
It takes time and
then it will play, right?
yes, it will start.
So here, the continuous streaming means it will keep flowing the data.
Okay.
It won't stop.
Okay.
But here, you will get one by one data only.
Okay.
That's it takes time, right?
Yes.
But this one, buffering will take, very faster.
Okay.
Reading process will improve. That's the main concept. When you use a buffering, reading and writing process will improve very fast.
Okay, sir.
That's the main difference. Okay, so tomorrow I'll show you the programs. So you can go through here. I have given very clearly what are the methods and how to use these. Okay, and so we'll write a program. Then we'll finish tomorrow, and then we'll go for the string handling. Then last collections, we'll see that. So by next week, I hope we can finish the entire course, the Java course. So you're good. So for Java, then we'll start the Selenium. Okay. Plus, guys, please read. No, without reading, there is no value for this course. So I'm telling you, frankly, only Lava